I've decided, I've been working all day in the chicken coop and stuff like that. I'm going to go to the site where my grandson and I had the samurai chatter last year. It's not far away. And I got vacation days. Right there's the river. I live on the river. Right across the river, state land. It goes for, good Lord, 20 some miles, 30 miles that way. Something like that. That direction is Seney National Wildlife Refuge. I'm surrounded by nothing but woods, so everybody always wants to know how remote I live. Let's go for a ride.
Eastern Europe in 1990.
So, pulling out of the driveway.
Single from 1983. This is She's a Beauty. 92.7. The Legend.
I get all my bear photos, bobcat photos. I mean, they are in the driveway here. They kind of stay away from the house, which is good. That's what I want. But got a full moon tonight. That's kind of cool. Give me a little bit of visibility. So here's the end of my driveway. Turn out onto the main trail. I still got a mile to go to get to the road. So yeah. I say you can't put a price on not having neighbors. I mean it. This is an active area for Sasquatch. Brother found a track on my parents' riverbank next door to me. Guy that lives up that driveway, that is my closest full-time neighbor. He claims he's seen him twice over in that direction towards the river. This is a fresh spring-fed creek right there we just drove over. That's a cabin that's rarely used. Cabin here, they just finally got power to it last year. He's actually from Houghton Lake, where I'm from. His name is Dave. He owns a business there. I won't say which business, but for some reason the camera died when I was recording earlier. So, as I was saying, come back from a night of squashing at the location we're headed to right now. And there was a tree across the road, snapped off. No wind, healthy green tree. Absolutely no reason. Should have been broke there. Would have blocked my path. Almost like a message was being sent. So I parked my truck up on the county road and walked home. As soon as I started walking, something started, kind of a howl, like a bad owl. How I can compare it to is something trying to imitate an owl, kind of howling off to my left. And I had an AR pistol with me because I didn't want to leave it in the truck, so I had that slung on my shoulder. So I wasn't afraid. I was heavily armed, but yeah. Walked a half mile home. That followed me for a few hundred yards, and it peeled off to the left and just slowly droned out. But I just didn't have time to deal with that tree that night. I was going to get like 3 hours sleep before work, so To our left, which would be northwest, it's all state land, about 10,000 acres. Same state land that's across the river from my house. And farther up here on our left, once we get up towards a little farther north, is going to be Seney National Wildlife Refuge. That's about 65,000 acres. This is a very remote area, a lot of wildlife. Way too many wolves. Wolves are decimating the deer population up here, and people's dogs and everything else. They're beautiful animals, highly intelligent, but they are killing machines. Wouldn't be bad if the DNR would just manage them, but they don't. Like any other predator, you have to properly manage the numbers, and they don't. This is just going to be a boring drive for a while. But one thing I did want to add is I'm always cognizant of doing this stuff this close to my house. We're only going to be about 11.5 miles from my house. And I don't want these things hanging around my house. I've tried to do mind speak at my house and, you know, let them know, I know you're there. You know I know you're there. Stay out of my yard. You can traverse the property, but no looking through the windows, no harming my family, my dog, anything like that. If we do that, we're going to have issues. And I will protect what is mine. So, this way I don't do anything active around my house. I don't try to call them in. I don't try to do anything Sasquatch related at home. I'm actually leery doing it this close to home. So, 2008, I believe it was, my son DJ and I went on our first BFRO expedition. I'd been into Bigfoot since I was a little kid. Since I first seen the Patterson Gimlin film. So, I don't remember how it transpired, but we went on BFRO expedition here in the Upper Peninsula. I was living in the Lower Peninsula at the time, from the Lower Peninsula. He ended up having a face-to-face encounter over in Marquette County. Absolutely scared the bejesus out of him. That was quite a day. But the very next year, I don't remember if it was that year or the next year, I believe it was the next year, I was asked to join the BFRO as an investigator, which I did. And for quite a while, I was one of only 2 investigators, maybe 3, for this whole state of Michigan. I did most of the UP, I did all of northern lower Michigan, for a long time. But been on several Michigan expeditions. I focused mostly on Michigan. There's enough going on here to keep me busy. But kind of wandered away from the BFRO for a while. And I hang around a lot of other BFRO investigators. We kind of started our own group up here in the UP. The Upper Peninsula Bigfoot Sasquatch Research Organization, which basically is a bunch of BFRO investigators. A bunch of really good people. That's one cool thing about the BFRO. I've met some really great people. So, I'll also learned a lot. I mean, my opinion of the subject has changed a lot over the years. I mean, I started out thinking these things were some kind of unidentified ape. I do not believe that whatsoever at this point. Yeah, they are not apes. Melba Ketchum's DNA study proved that they are the mother side. The DNA is human. Even tracked which parts of the world the DNA was from, what continents. Father side, the mitochondrial DNA, the mother side. The father side is unknown. So, you know, some people believe these are Nephilim from the Bible. I do not believe that myself, but Scott Carpenter, who, God rest his soul, I mean, I really respected that guy's opinion. He believed they were Nephilim. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I personally do not feel that's what they are. These things do have abilities and powers that we can't wrap our minds around, though. The things I've encountered, the things I've experienced, you know, some people scoff at the paranormal side of Bigfooting, but there is a paranormal side to it. By paranormal, I mean we just can't explain it. Call it the woo, call it the whatever. I do believe they are definitely flesh and blood, but I also believe that these things have abilities that we cannot wrap our minds around. The show Finding Bigfoot, Matt Moneymaker, who is on that, he is the guy that started the BFRO, the organization that I'm an investigator for. I've got to hang out with Matt several times. I've met Cliff and Bobo and all those guys. They're really cool people. I scouted locations when they filmed in Michigan. I picked the place where they had the town hall meeting. That was in my hometown of Houghton Lake. I think it was a really cheesy series. It was more, you know, it was a constant battle. Producers didn't give two shits about Bigfoot. They didn't give two shits about finding anything. They care about viewers. That's all they care about. And talking to the production lady, she called me from Los Angeles when they were getting ready to film in Lower Michigan. I got so frustrated talking to that lady because she just couldn't comprehend anything I was trying to tell her. You know, she wanted to incorporate snowmobiles into the thing. Well, the area she wanted to go to in Marquette County, where my son had his face-to-face encounter, there's 4.5 feet of snow on the ground in the winter in that particular part of the UP. She didn't care. I tried to explain to her that there's not maintained, there's no trails per se there that are used normally for snowmobiling, so you can't even ride in there. And she just could not comprehend that. She cared more about putting snowmobiles into it than she did about Bigfoot. So I got really frustrated. That's kind of when I stepped away from the BFRO. I'm going to get back into doing reports for them, but I'm going to leave it, I think, at that. I will help other investigators with things if need be, but I'm pretty content in the direction I'm going. Man, look at that full moon. It is bright out tonight. Seems like, for me personally, seems like full moon nights I get less activity. For some reason when it's darker, they just seem more comfortable to come out and around people. I've had some really cool experiences over the years. Trees pushed down. I just experienced that this spring over in Delta County. I've had a log thrown at me, screamed at, growled at, found tracks, found hair, tree breaks, stick structures. My son had his face-to-face encounter. I've yet to have one of those. I'm not gonna lie, it'd be scary as shit, but that's kind of my goal. I have no intention of trying to bag one of these. I think don't realize what you're messing with if you try that. You better have a plan. They live in family groups, and they will come to each other's aid. And these things are capable of things we don't understand. Now, if I do overnights and stuff, I do go armed. I have a 10mm Glock on me right now, 45 rounds. But if I do overnights, like real remote overnights, I'll take either a 12 gauge with slugs or a 308 rifle. And you just never know what you're going to run into. Kind of got into this dogman thing a little bit, and I don't have absolutely not made up my mind on that yet. If it does exist, I hope I never run into one, to be honest. That would change my outlook on the woods, but you never know. Of course, up here there's bears everywhere. My only mountain lion sighting up here was right where we are right now. So we have mountain lions up here. We have tons of wolves up here. Lots of predators up here. How cool is that? Hilltop silhouetted by the full moon. I have an audio recorder going. I'm sitting on the bed of my truck here. I've been out here for a little bit now. I am scanning with the FLIR. And I'm not seeing anything. Trees are still giving off some heat from the sunlight. They tend to glow for several hours after dark. Just dead quiet out here tonight. Once again, how cool is that for a backdrop? They clear cut out here, but full moon, ridge top up there. Very cool. This really is what, to me, what research is about. You got to get out here. Cool sitting at home at a computer, researching things, and there's a place for that, but if you want answers, this is the only place you're going to find it. And I mean, for a lot of people, this is, stepping outside of their comfort zone. Coming out middle of nowhere, knowing that there's large bipedal hairy beings out here. I think one of the most challenging things is just trying to figure out a pattern for them. This is, right down to within a week of where my grandson and I had the samurai chatter out here. So, nice cool night. There's no mosquitoes. It's down to about 48 degrees. But they're not everywhere all the time. I'm going to be traveling to a place where same area my son had his face-to-face encounter at. It's a large area, but there's one trail there, completely overgrown. It's federal land. They don't want you cutting trees out of the trail or anything, so it's going to be about a 2-mile walk in, but every time I go down there, I just get this unsettling feeling. And I don't get those. I just don't. But I'm going to go down there and spend the night, so that will be interesting. There's X's, structures, we've had a lot of activity there years back. I've kind of left that area alone for quite a while. So I'm really curious as to what I may encounter. Some people think you got to be really quiet when you're out here and all this stuff. These things know you're here. There's no hiding on them. They know you're here. That's why I'm openly talking while I'm doing this. They see me drive in, they know I'm here. These things are masters of their domain. Another thing, when you're scanning with night vision or FLIR, is you need to realize that these things, when they want to come check you out, you're not always looking for a large upright being. They will get down and get on all fours. And I'm sure it's a really creepy sight. An 800 to 1,000 pound animal. I guess they have like a spider walk, they call it, where they get right down, like belly crawling almost, but they're off the ground just on their hands and fingers and toes. I don't know if they do that to mimic another animal, like a bear, or they're just trying to stay out of sight. But I'm always interested when I get a heat signature down low. That's interesting. My FLIR just died. I had it charged fully before I left. I didn't even bring any backup batteries, so interesting. We are now up on top of that hill. The truck is way down there. Amazing how bright out it is tonight. Flying blind now because the FLIR died. It's gotta be about midnight right now. We've been out here for about an hour at this point. Some nights there's nothing. But the only way you're ever going to find stuff or experience things or learn things, get out and do them. Get out and do them. I've done ghost hunting. I do some of the paranormal stuff. I've seen full body apparitions. I believe I work at a high security prison. 28 years of the Michigan Department of Corrections. I think I've run into a few demonically possessed people. Stuff just doesn't faze me. I don't know. I find the whole ghost hunting and things fun, but I don't want anything to do with demonic stuff. But I don't know. I don't get a thrill out of it like I do coming out here doing this. This excites me. Not a lot gets my adrenaline going. I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie, and the more and more you do stuff, the harder it is to get that rush. But this still gives it to me. The temperature's really dropped in the last hour or so. So this just gives you a taste of some kind of what I do. This is one of my weird little hobbies. I'm getting ready to retire, and I'll be doing this a lot more full time. Hopefully I'll be able to share it with you guys. I'm just investing in more night vision equipment, cameras, all that stuff. Costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So, what a beautiful night for being midnight. Just gorgeous out. That's where we just were, up on top of that ridge. All right, folks, have a good night. I'm heading back home. Peace out.